My guest today is filmmaker and actor Tom Koch, and he was raised between the south of France and London. And Tom turned a childhood struggle with asthma into a creative drive that ultimately led him to New York, where he founded Mes Films et Couleur, a production company dedicated to telling true stories with a twist. Now, his Oscar qualified short film, Olive, starring Academy Award nominated and Golden Globe winning actress Lesley Ann Warren, is making waves on the festival circuit that examines the fragility of memory and the enduring power of love through the lens of Alzheimer's. Now, Olive has already garnered international recognition, winning the Silver Screen at the Young Directors Awards in Cannes and Best Short Film at Sidewalk 2025, while earning a nomination for Best Live Action Short at Flickers Rhode Island International. Now, the film has appeared at prestigious festivals around the world, including Holly Shorts Hollywood, Walla Walla Movie Crush, and Couleur International, New York Shorts International, as well as Global Drama Project. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome filmmaker, actor Tom Koch and his beautiful Oscar qualified short film, Olive, to the show. Welcome, Tom. It's great to have
Well,
you.
thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This is such a great introduction.
Well,
Um,
you're very welcome. And I have to say, I absolutely fell in love with your short film, Olive. And I have a very close affinity to the subject matter, especially with films that portray Alzheimer's. Even my doctorate degree was in neurology, nutrition, and my grandmother passed away from the disease. So, yes, I can understand this film from beginning to end. So, where did the idea of Olive come from? And is it a personal story? And if so, is your grandmother named Olive?
no, she's not. Good one. Yeah, but thank you for sharing this. I feel like the consensus of traveling with the film around the globe has sort of given us an idea that a lot of people are actually being touched or know someone who's being touched by some sort of dementia in the family. The numbers are crazy. So thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I mean, my grandma, was sick when I was a kid, and she passed away when I was 14. So yeah, there's a little bit of course, personal story. And my girlfriend's grandmother, who's actually in the film, my girlfriend Marie is young Lesley Ann Warren in the film. Her grandmother has dementia right now. So I lived with them in the UK, and it started from there, trying to deal with. I was trying to like represent multiple themes in two people. So you have the grandma and the grandson, you have a young couple, and you have an older couple, all in Sam and Marie. The idea came from just wanting to explore that, and then in the writing process, finding the twists, creating some kind of layers. It took a while to write Olive, maybe about 10 months, because it's a short, but it was a feature in my head, almost, I want to say. But yeah, it came from this, and it became something different in the writing, really.
Well, now I wondered a bit when you just said a feature. Now
Hmm.
that you said that, and I go back to replay the whole film in my head, I could see it as a feature.
Hmm.
Pieces of the Notebook, I would say,
Yeah.
um, which doesn't hurt because those films like that, they make their
Amazing.
mark in cinema. So this is that type of film, and the thing about it is when I watched it the first time, and of course myself, audiences around the world, we all have the same reaction at that point when we go, oh, and
Yeah.
that is that was absolutely beautiful. So then when I got to the end, I went, okay, now I've got to go back and
Hmm.
rewatch
Hmm.
this again,
Thank you.
scene by scene, and
Thank you.
start piecing this thing together. And and it was the subtleties that you portrayed in your film with one with dementia was absolutely brilliant, if not stunning. And
Wow.
I've seen films that, where dementia can be the central theme, but what you did is something that I have not seen done before? And if so, not done correctly until now.
Wow.
So
Wow.
you show the things that caregivers deal with.
Hmm.
Um, you show things that those that are showing signs of dementia deal with. And you were
Hmm.
able to seamlessly mesh them together. I'm not even saying mesh is the wrong word. It synergistically flowed
Wow.
perfectly.
Wow.
So,
I
well,
don't know what
let
to do with all
well,
this. This is too good.
well, let's take a scene, and then you
Yeah.
walk us through the scene. So there's the dishwasher scene.
Right.
Um, at first, when an audience sees it, we look at it really just on the surface. We
Yeah.
don't truly understand. Of course, I have the luxury of going back and watching
Hmm.
over and over again.
Hmm.
So the dishwasher scene was one of those where, of course, I want to be careful not to spoil the film for those who have never seen it, but I'll say
Yeah.
this. Lesley Ann Warren's reaction to Sam in the kitchen with both the
Hmm.
dishwasher and him cutting the meat with a knife was
Hmm.
brilliant writing, because where you had placed the scene early before we actually where the light bulb
Thank
finally
you.
goes off. So how did you come to shape the story one way and then slowly reveal the twist to this beautiful story? And now I understand why it took you 10 months to write it.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Wow. Thank you so much for seeing this this way because it was a little bit of a challenge to write it. Um, because I think ultimately what I was trying to do was to create two people who want the same thing from one another. Whether you know the twist or not, she wants to care for him, he wants to care for her. And that means that they get in their own ways. And so, no matter what, at that point watching the film, she wants him to get out and leave the knife. She wants to be mad at him for the clothes in the dishwasher. He's mad at her, and he's mad at her that she's saying, "Get out! You're gonna make a mess, and you have a knife, and it's dangerous." And it works both ways because caring, you can care for a child, you can care for a patient, you can care for a lover, you can care for a grandmother. So really it's dementia is used as a tool to just show two people care and two people love each other. So thank you for seeing it because when you rewatch it and you see her subtleties in her acting, it's flawless. It's so good because she's layering the love she has for this man and the fact that he's dealing with what he's dealing.
Well, the thing is, for those that have never been around those with Alzheimer's or dementia, the thing is that over time, when things start to progress and get worse, they forget the simple things that
Absolutely.
we take for granted. And you show these small subtleties because in the beginning of the film, you put a lot of weight on her
Yep.
because we're thinking
Hmm.
she's the one,
Yeah.
so which I loved, because then when I went back and watched the film the second and the third and the fourth time, I was like, oh my gosh. And
Thank you.
yeah, so the kitchen scene, I that's when I started to notice where you
Hmm.
were playing both sides. And when
Hmm.
she
Hmm.
says put the knife down,
Hmm.
well,
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
first time the audience sees that, they may not truly understand. And so
Yeah.
when I saw it the second time, I went,
Yeah.
that's why,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that happens in real life
It does. It
because it's a
does for
dangerous
sure.
situation.
And it's like exactly like you said, it's the simplest things. It's eating, it's wanting, it's walking, it's going out, it's remembering where the house is. It's, all these very simple things that would, like you said, we take for granted. It's wanting candy when you should be eating this, and it's wanting that when you should be doing this. And suddenly, like I'm just talking about my girlfriend's grandmother who's just started smoking, and she's like she's like 80, and now she smokes a pack a day, and she never really smoked before. So it's like, why? But her only joy, honestly, day to day is smoking. So it's like you can't really say no. You're not going to be like, like, I mean, it's really hard. I know it's kind of heartbreaking to even think about it.
But
And
you also show something that a lot of people may not know about dementia, and this doesn't happen with all dementia patients, but it's fairly common. There's a frustration, there is an anger, it just
sure.
comes out of them. They
Hmm.
don't really know that they're mad at
Yeah,
someone. There's just this underlying frustration that the disease is causing,
yeah,
and
yeah.
you show it, but you show it with such grace in
Thank you.
this film. So I want to cover one of the most, well, I'm not going to say obvious because I don't know how, I'm sure people noticed, but because you titled the film Olive, tell me
Hmm.
about the significance to the color of olive green in the
Okay.
film, because I saw the umbrella, the watch
Yeah.
band, the painting on the wall, the
Oh my
cafe
God.
dispenser, the pot on the stove. Sam's sweater was also a very dark olive. And depending on how you watch the film, some people may thought it was gray, but I just literally paused it because I finally caught the right lighting and I went, his sweater is olive. So tell me the significance of all of that.
Oh, I don't think anybody has watched the film the way you did. I'm so touched. Thank you. Olive means so many things in regard to the disease, to the condition, and to the love of these people. There's something very nurturing in olive. It's a heart chakra color, so it really comes from love. In chakra sort of talk, but also the olive, the fruit, the simplicity of a seed, and it's like an egg, right? It's like one of the simplest thing you can find. And when you have dementia, you go to childhood, you go back to that simple mind, that simple things, and that's what you said. You're very happy, and suddenly you're super sad, and suddenly you're very angry because you're like a child. You have all these emotions, and you don't know how to filter them and how to process them. And olive is that simplicity for me. It's a very simple word, it's a very simple fruit, and it's a color that sort of like bleeds love and nurture. Did you see something else in it that, yes?
Did I miss something?
No, 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 no. But did I want,
No, because I kept thinking, because for me, I kept thinking that maybe maybe you were, because when after I'd watched the film so many times, I kept thinking,
uh,
okay, maybe Olive is maybe you were paying homage to someone that was named
mm,
Olive. So, so I looked at it from an endearing point of view, and I love the subtleties of the color
yeah,
placed here and there, which, the umbrella was just right there. A
yeah,
keen eye would have caught the watch band, but when I saw the pot on the stove, and I went, did
yeah,
anybody notice? Did anybody
yeah.
notice, you know, uh, his sweater color? Because it was very subtle, but it was
There's an
there.
there's an obsession with things when you have that kind of mind as well, and things need to be not OCD, but they like to eat the same thing every day. They like to do this, the same walk, the same everything is on a timetable. Um, and the checkbook is kind of like it introduces a character that her and him have a very they're routine people, right? You have to be a routine person, and I think there's an obsession for the color, and because we play a little bit in the film with realities, because suddenly she's young and he's in love with her, and then the pot is green, and oh my God, is the pot real? I mean, there's a little bit of that as well because we're into the mind of someone who's sick. And the wristband, you can't really see it because I didn't want to show it too much, but in reality, it's a hospital wristband, and it says I shouldn't say it, but it says I have dementia with a number, you know. But
Wow.
yeah,
I want to go back, pause that scene and just
I have it.
hone in
I
on
have it
that.
here.
But wow,
Yeah.
now that's the subtleties that I love to see, because but you bring something up. there is there's always that schedule with a caretaker taking care of
Yeah,
someone with dementia because, well, it will always be stressful, but it
for sure.
takes out part of the stress. It's the stress pops up in between all of those times
Yeah,
and those elements, and you showed it in this film because one of the things that because that's the thing about showing the stress, you perfectly portrayed it. um, Both of them are living in a world of past memories because dementia has a difficult time remembering the present.
for
So
sure.
you showed this when the subject um, of eating came up, and it's an element of dementia that many don't talk about because the very last thing that a dementia patient will end up forgetting is how to eat.
Yeah,
And so they don't die from Alzheimer's, they end up dying from malnutrition.
absolutely. Absolutely. Very true. And that's what, yeah, that's what I saw with my grandma and the people I was with and living with the condition. It's the hardest thing. It's you want to say, well, you have to eat, but they can't. They sometimes they don't eat for 2 days, and you're like, why? You know, and they want sweets and they want things like that. And that it's super interesting that you say that because there is a moment in actually when we were shooting the film. It didn't end up in the film, but we were rehearsing the scene on the bed. You know, right before the twist. And Lesley Ann Warren, in her character, as her character said, I wish I was young. It just came out. It wasn't scripted, and there is that feeling. And I always thought, should I use that? Should I use this in the film? Should I take it and put it there? And it was beautifully. I think it was just like unconscious character speech. So it's beautiful, and it showed me how much she wants him to come back to her or her to go to him. They just want them to be together in madness or in reality. In whatever reality he is in right now, she's basically saying, "Can I come?" Because he's so far gone into not even knowing who she is anymore at all and who he is that she's just like, "Oh, I wish I was young like you." And when she said that, I was like, oh my God. And I spent like 3 days thinking about like the meta of the film is really just like being together, you know?
Well, it's that scene where they're standing in front of the painting and
Uh-huh.
and Sam turns to her and he goes, "Are you hungry?" Well,
Mm,
it's still morning. So he doesn't have a sense of time.
zero. Yeah, thank you.
And but you kind of you did a you kind of gave us a double twist. You gave us the one that we all saw,
Mm-hmm.
but the other subtle twist was that painting.
Yeah. I mean,
Now,
yeah.
what was there a particular reason why you chose that particular painting with a city skyline?
It was made for the film. My friend Adam made it for the film. So yeah, yeah, yeah. It's very, very, it's a choice. Yeah. It was designed for the film. I actually have it in my apartment right here.
I love it. I love it. It's there was just all these little things in this film, but there's that scene where Lesley Ann tells Sam that she's tired,
Hmm.
so tired. I
Yeah.
felt that because being a caregiver to one with dementia provides no rest whatsoever. And that's what that scene was about, right?
And 100%, it's that, and it's something that I was really trying to put into the film, and I don't know if it's something that's seen immediately, but the loneliness of those people. Because when you don't have maybe family, I kind of crafted those two people not having kids. When you don't have the financial support to get to go to the best hospitals, especially in a country like America, like I grew up in France, so it's different for us. But here it's all about, do you want to be saved? Yeah. Do you have money? It's kind of the first thing, right? And so there is a little bit of a dig at that. In the madness comes from the loneliness of those people. She's the only one caring for this person, and she's super super tired, and that's the last scene. The last scene is, I'm exhausted, you're exhausting me, you know and therefore I'm not even doing a good job anymore, you know
Yeah, because in this, well, in all of these cases, they never seem that they're doing enough,
Hmm.
but you're kind of constrained. I mean, you can't, you're in a situation where they're not going to get better, and
True.
that's what makes it so heartbreaking.
You're
And
maintaining it.
there was there was a scene that, oh my gosh, when she says, "Before you forget,"
Mm.
oh, I was just like, where's the tissue,
Mhm.
and because many people don't realize that when one is diagnosed with dementia, they don't realize that they're slowly forgetting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I've heard stories of dementia patients, or I've heard this one story where this man, he got diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and he told his children, he says, "Look, I want to tell you right now that I love you, because when it comes time to where I start forgetting, I don't want you to forget that."
Wow. Oh man.
Makes me want to
Yeah.
cry just saying it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. It's definitely one of those subjects that, if you think about it too much, it's so fragile, health, that you get into a spiral, for sure. It's very hard. And it starts very early. In your 20s, you can develop dementia. So it's like,
yeah, there's the early onset dementia that hits people late 40s into their early 50s, and
mhm, mhm.
that's extremely difficult,
Yeah,
because someone should have had another 20, 30 years
absolutely.
ahead of them. But
Absolutely.
tell me about the scene with the driver's license.
Giant's license. The only handheld scene in the film, really. It's a very intense moment of, well, it's another moment also of, because she is the one who says, "Go take a look at what's in there," and he goes and he looks and he finds his documents, his papers, and she comes back immediately as herself, and she says, "I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry," because the exhaustion made her do something that she regrets immediately. And it's a little bit of a layering of, we do things that hurt the people we love because of ABC reasons. And he doesn't recognize the papers, of course. He's a bit lost, he's a bit confused. I'm sure he doesn't even remember that she said, "Go look in there," you know? He's a puppy. He's in the present, he's in the present, he's in the present. And it's the it's the if there were act one, two, three, I kind of see Olive as a flow and more like a one film instead of saying act one, act two, act three. But if there was an act three, it would be now, if it was a cowboy movie, they would be kind of looking at each other with guns, right? And she feels so sorry, and then he doesn't he thinks she's crazy. A lot of people, if you're not crazy, it's the other one, right? I'm not crazy, so
Well,
like,
yeah, because he's looking at it. He's basically
yeah,
thinking, "Who is this?"
who is this person? And she's like, "Look at it, look at it." She's not even saying, because they always say, don't contradict them too much, don't tell them something crazy that's going to break them apart. She's not even saying it's you. That was very important in the script and in the screenplay, that she says, "Look at it," because she's been changing the way she talks for years to get to a level where she can talk to a patient and not her husband. Well,
Yeah, that's where it gets heartbreaking.
she's talking to a patient. Yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioned where we both know with a lot of short films, you can tell there's a one, two, and three act.
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
Some, a great short film has the perfect arc. Olive has that perfect arc, but what you did was, there's not a one, two, and a three act here. You have a flow a seamless flow going through, because that's what makes the twist, giving the audience the
Yeah.
moment. And you have to have that because your story is intertwining from the very beginning. And in a way, if you watch it really closely, audience, watch it
Hmm.
closely, you see this going in it. I call it going in and out.
Yeah.
There's this in and out flow between both characters because, we're all thinking it's Lesley Ann.
Yeah.
And then you show us towards the end that it's ends up being Sam. Now, I noticed something in the film, and it may absolutely me going way outside the box, and it may not mean a thing, but it caught my eye. There was a there was a scene, and it was in the subtlety of the wedding ring that Sam was wearing when he's young.
Of course.
The design, I literally paused it and I went, huh.
Of course. Thank you for seeing that. Yeah.
The
Of
design
course.
was very reminiscent of an older time period, not modern day.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. That's on purpose. Yeah. And the hug at the end before the reveal, if you pause, the only thing you see is his wedding ring. And of course, he thinks he's 20.
Yeah.
Not that you couldn't be married at 20, but you know.
Yeah, when I saw the ring, it kind of reminded me of this designer Constantino from Greece. And so when I looked at it, I went, "Yeah, that's not 2025."
Absolutely.
And then I
Absolutely.
thought, "Yeah." So when I saw that, I'm like, I'm going to have to
Absolutely.
ask the question. That's got
It's
that's
there.
that's got to be a sign. So
And I
I'm
mean, his clothes, I mean,
oh, I noticed.
you know,
Okay, the shot that you did. Of course, it's you. You're coming. If I remember, you're coming down the hallway towards the camera. You're wearing the white
yeah,
short,
yeah,
white shirt, and you have the gray slacks on.
yeah.
If anybody will take the time to notice, when you look at the style of the gray slacks, that was reminiscent of an older time period.
That's why that's the way he dresses, right? I mean, Sam,
Yeah,
right?
right.
And then when we do the reveal, he's wearing the same clothes. That's it. That's him. That's just me getting inspired by my grandfather. You know what I mean? To be honest, like that's just the what he's wearing, and you know his shoes and his socks and everything. Everything we had on set was uh, period conscious, right?
Well,
Maybe
there
not
was
accurate.
this. Yeah, I mean, um, and one of the things that what caught my eye about the attire was the waistline.
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
Because when I looked at that style of clothes, and I'm like, oh, I wish that would come back. That it's just
Oh
so
yeah, me too.
classy.
But you know, I think it is coming back. In some red carpet situations that I've seen maybe recently last year or the year before, like when Oppenheimer was having its big thing, they were kind of like wearing high pants a little bit. And I think it's the coolest outfit. I'm also kind of a short person in general, so like I need like I need to work the figure out, otherwise I look like a blub.
Well,
Uh,
I want to see the style of the 20s, 30s, and 40s kind of come
yeah,
back because
yeah.
it's a very, very cool look. But how did you come to cast the amazing Lesley Ann Warren in your film? And not just her, you really have not only an all-star cast, you have an all-star crew as well.
Yeah. Got very lucky there, I have to say. To be honest, not to, I wish I had a really cool story about how we got Leslie and Warren, but it was really casting director to manager to actor. It was a very straightforward offer that I made to her with a official offer, and she read the script. And not to quote her, but she spoke about it in an interview, so I'm allowing myself to to say it, but she really enjoyed the film. She really enjoyed the script. She really wanted to do a sort of European film that has a very social and human sort of feeling, and she found that in the script. We zoomed, and we kind of fell in love with each other on Zoom. I was like, "Wow, you're so cool," and then we had so many phone calls, and then she flew to New York to do the film, and then yeah, it was the greatest experience. She is probably the best thing about this film for me as a filmmaker, and my greatest um, meeting. The greatest meeting of last year for me was her for sure. And one thing after another, you get someone like Lesley Ann Warren, and then people are more interested to maybe work on the film, and then you get someone else who's like a super cool producer, and then you get a great DP, and it's kind of a domino effect, right? Of making the project interesting, I guess. I don't know. I'm new to that. I'm not saying the project is interesting, but
Well, no,
um,
well, it is for one. And how did you balance acting and directing this film?
ugh, that was hard. I'm not gonna lie. This was probably the hardest thing, but it's. I come from acting. I did a lot of theater. I trained in acting. I worked in London and New York, and so I feel very comfortable acting, telling a story because it's where I sit the best, I guess. And because I wrote Sam, I knew kind of like where to go with the character and what I wanted. Um, so there was an ease in finding in going, okay, I'm just going to do it. But it's a lot of preparation with the DP and the first AD and the scripty because they need to look at the footage and tell me, oh, I think this is what you want, and then I look at the monitor, and I'm like, no, it's not. Let's go back. And then there was this whole battle of um, how many times do I have to watch the monitor after every single take, or should we do three? And when you think we have it, I watch. And like, the first day was a little bit clumsy, but then we got into like a rhythm. And then they were like, looking at me. I think we got it. And I was looking, with the headset. Oh, yeah, we do, and it's just teamwork. I could never have done it alone without them. They were incredible, and I will never do it on a feature. That's what I.
No, look, on the feature, you ought to be playing Sam.
Well, I mean, if there is a feature about Olive one day, I'm not. I don't know because it's a
Okay,
lot.
I'm going to tell you why you should be, if you do the feature of Olive, I'll tell you why you should be the one playing Sam. Now, one of the most beautiful things about this film, and I think it has to do with your look, your persona as the young Sam, and you have this absolute gorgeous music score of of this French beautiful sound, and I think it just enhanced you, your look, the act. It was just so synergistic in nature. I would have never changed a thing, but my gosh, if I had to pick a music score that I love this year, I love this one.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And yeah, I mean, this was in the script, by the way. The songs were in the script. I really wanted those songs, and I'm so lucky we got them. And the last song by Charles Aznavour, the first lyrics when it starts when the film ends is "Yesterday I was still 20." So like that's why I picked the lyrics for the script. They all kind of work with what's happening on screen. It's hard when you like 99% of the people who watch this film don't speak French, so it's a bit dumb. But it works. On top of being a beautiful song, it kind of works. So I was really, really happy with that. Thank you.
Well, you can't, we need to bring Hollywood as a whole
Mhm.
needs to bring two things back. One, we need to bring back that French cinema flavor.
Yeah,
The Audrey Hepburn kind of thing, and uh,
yeah.
even a bit of Italian cinema, because there's a whole different element there, but there's a romance to both.
Hmm, hmm,
And you
hmm.
have this, so the songs that you chose, there is this romance within that film score that adds to the weight of Olive. And but there's also another thing that I noticed,
Hmm.
and I paid really close attention to this. Tell me about the sound mixing.
Oh,
The ticking of
really?
the clock reminding us that time is precious and that every
Yeah,
moment and even every memory matters. Then
yeah.
I caught it the first time and I loved it.
Hmm,
The static sound of a record needle on a vinyl record,
hmm,
the sound
hmm.
of the spinning of time, a void filled with white noise and wondering how to fill it before the end comes. How did you plan the sound mixing?
Um, that was my favorite part, I think, because no, it's true because it's everything is in the sound, and you have time. Well, not so much time, but you have, you're not rushed by like, oh, we got to get this shot or whatever, and you have endless possibilities and endless sounds that you can pick from. I don't know if you noticed, but I just want to say, there's also at the very beginning the ticking of the clock is an old clock, and when we have the reveal, the ticking is a modern IKEA clock. So the sound changes depending on what Sam you're seeing, because he hears something old, and the other person hears something modern because it's him. So like we went hard with the sound mix, to be honest. Like I there's moments where handhelds, when he finds the ID and he runs out, and this whole shebang, this whole movement, the sounds of things are French. Like it's a French street, it's a French car, it's a French, like his mind is like on a trip. And then we come back, and the record player not playing, the music not playing. The music kind of represents their love for each other, the past, all the songs that they loved and cherished together when they were together, back in the days. And now it's like nothing is playing, and there's this buzzing sound of trying to connect, trying to. And my favorite shot is actually right after that. It's them old, take drinking tea. That's my favorite shot of the whole film.
Really?
I love that shot because this is like dementia. That's what people. I'm not saying those films are bad. I actually adore those films. But when you think dementia movie making, you think a person who's, an elderly person and a caretaker, and it's slow and it's contemplative and it's like what's happening in their mind, and we're just seeing it as their caretaker. What I was trying to do with Olive is give momentum, give pace, because if you forget, well, you're always in the present. You're not forgetting for a long period of time. You're in the present, you're in the present, you're in the present. So I wanted to give that to the edit. But my favorite shot is that shot of them when we change POV and we're through the eyes of Lesley seeing her husband. And now I'm giving you a more still Alice, all those great films that are kind of dementia films where things are slow. Question, not that those films are incredible, and I watched them 100 times to get inspired. But there's this change of like, okay, now I'm kind of giving you what you're more used to. So I love that shot so much. It means so much to me, this for some
Well,
reason.
my favorite shot
Okay. Yeah.
was when Sam he was moving his fingers across her skin
Yeah.
towards the necklace that said
Right.
Marie.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's when I picked up the static of the
Yeah.
record in the background. I just thought the shot alone was so beautiful. And the one of the other subtleties in which you're making the audience think that the problem is Lesley Ann is when um, the first song comes and we see the
Hmm.
turntable playing the record, and she bends her head back and she starts to smile, and we see Sam come into the background. We're thinking it's her,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
and
Yeah.
your subtleties in this film were brilliant.
My friend, we need to talk every day.
Well, I've got one for you because I recognize someone that you worked with. So, the cinematography of your film is, again, stunning in every single way. Why did you choose Guillermo Cameo as your cinematographer?
To be honest, my producer Anthony gave me a list of DPs, and he was one of them. And I clicked on his website and I started playing his reel. And the first three shots of his reel, I was like, oh, that's that's a DP who can, there are so many incredible DPs who are incredible at creating a nice shot, but this is storytelling. Like I saw in that shot, I saw a story, and I was like, wow, that's really cool. And he plays very well with contrasts. He's very good at contrasts. He's very good at having um, sort of like, when things need to be a little bit more of a backlit character, and you don't really know who the person is. He's good with like suspense and thriller, I feel, almost, in his work, and this is perfect for a film that has an unreliable narrator. I was like, oh, you know if I can also kind of show you through the cinematography that there's a bit of a twist, it's going to work in our advantage. And he's a European man like I am. We love the same films. We had a bunch of Zooms, and he felt like the perfect man for this film. And he's actually shooting my next one, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm
So
trying to
he's a
remember because when I saw his name, I went, wait a minute. I know who he is, and
he's,
I believe he filmed one of the short films I think that was in the running for was Oscar qualified last year. For the
probably, yeah.
life of me, I can't think of who it was.
He did also, yeah, he did. He's a great filmmaker,
Yeah,
cinematographer.
just incredible, and it's so funny when as many of these interviews that I do every year, how you start seeing the names of some of the same people. And that's just a testament of the quality of
Of his work.
filmmakers, cinematographers, writers. I mean, composers. The list goes
Mhm.
on. But one of the things that always catches my eye, and it is a quiet pet peeve that I have, but this is not a pet peeve about you, because you did it right. Um, One of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to stellar films
Mhm.
is I want to see, did they take as much time to design their film poster? And
Ah,
you have to tell me because your film poster is the best thing I've seen all year. Now,
wow.
I also understand that it won an award. And
Yeah.
again, it is the most beautiful. And here's why it's so beautiful. When you look at the film poster for Olive, what do you see? Yeah, we see the umbrella, we see the clock, but you see the depth caused by the richness of color and the use of shadow. And when I look at your poster and I look at the film, I'm like, they match.
What can I
It's
mean,
like
thank
looking at a poster that that froze cinematography in time.
wow. I'm gonna say that to Ron. Ron Ron Taft. I have to give him a big shout out because he's an absolutely legendary graphic designer. He's Leslie's husband as well, and he saw the film with her, and he called me and he said, "This is what I do. This is my work." And he won 37 Graphics awards in his career. I think he's one of the most awarded graphic designer living right now. And he said, "Would you like me to make you the poster for Olive?" I said, "Please, Ron, go for it." He created the poster, and the poster won platinum Graphics Award platinum for 2026. So that's another one for him, and for me, it was like, oh my God, like thank you. Like he saw things that I didn't see. Like we had a very quick conversation. I said time is very important, and the palette, right, the color, the olive, it's kind of a, duh, of course you need a bit of that, but for him, he took it and he went like, I don't even know what he did. Like I look at it and I'm speechless. I'm so grateful for Ron. He did an incredible work. But thank you for saying that as well. Like,
Yeah, that's the type of poster that would be that would be absolutely gorgeous as an oil painting.
yeah, I agree, right? You should
Yeah,
do it.
because you know how paintings are. Let's say if you go to somebody's office or
Mhm.
someplace and you're sitting there and you just kind of gaze at a painting and you're looking at it and your eyes are putting pieces together. That's that type of photo. And one of the design, and I know, ladies and gentlemen, this is probably kind of crazy, but the other element of that poster was the font and the lettering design for Olive, because when I look at most posters, I can go, Yeah, you did that in Canva."
Right, right, right.
And or Adobe or whatever. But when you take a word and then you
Mhm.
take the letters to create a design,
Yeah,
no, that's ingenuity. That's creativity.
yeah, 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 yeah.
That's
No,
a
yeah,
signature. It's a signature.
it is. I guess, yeah, it is. It is. It is. And we used it in the film when we introduced the title. We use it in the film. We use it on Instagram. I mean, yeah.
So what has been the audience's reaction to this film?
I mean, sometimes I'm, you know, after a screening, I hear people talk and I shake some hands, I'm giddy and happy, and I'm like, are they talking to me? Are they talking about Olive? Are they like, it's kind of surreal because whether it's a 15-year-old French, person who showed up at a screening in London, or a British couple, or an American, elderly couple whom I saw at Walla Walla in Washington, right? People come up to us and they say, "Oh my God, it reminded me of my aunt, and it reminded me of my son has this right now," and it doesn't have to be dementia, but it's just a condition, or just like a memory. Like, it reminded me when I was young and I did this, and oh, this song reminded, and everybody came up to us. I'm exaggerating when I say everybody, but like a lot of people came up to us and said, it resonated for this and for that, and sometimes I'm getting messages on Instagram of people who didn't come after the screening but saw it and wanted to share that it made them cry because their grandma, and like, it's overwhelming, but it's so great. I couldn't, it's amazing that it's touching different people and for different reason, you know.
You know, one of the things that I found about this film, it did not leave me with a feeling of sadness.
Hmm,
Um,
hmm,
which I was really happy about, because these,
hmm.
films like this could be very, very weighty and feel heavy for people, but there was such a I think there was this there was this beauty about this film that didn't leave the audience feeling super sad or heavy
Right,
after it
right.
was over. You were just looking at it like, wow, this is amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, hopefully people are not too sad about it or too whatever, right? Right, right. I was always thinking about that because I was not trying to make a sad film. And I was not trying to give an answer. I was not trying to preach, and end the film. And not that this is bad, but there's a lot of short films that end and then it says 430 million people are. Da, 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 da,
Yeah,
da,
yeah,
da,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah. I know what you mean. I
it,
know what you mean.
it's cool and I respect it. And I could have used some crazy dementia
No, no, no,
numbers,
no,
right?
no, no. And
But
here's why in this case you don't want to do that.
mhm, mhm.
The moment you do that at the end of a at the end of a film like this one, you turn a beautiful story into a social impact film.
Exactly.
And 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 ladies and gentlemen, for all you filmmakers that watch me, I'm going to say this. If your dream one day is to make a run for the Oscars, you better be very, very careful with many elements of your film. You better get your log line right. And if you're covering subjects like Tom does with dementia, many of you choose grief. I hope next year that everybody does not do a film on grief. Uh, from grief, depression, suicide, the list goes on. The moment you put a statistic, a phone number, now look, I get it. There's a time and place for that. But what is your goal? Is it to help mankind, which is awesome to do, and to help people that are in trouble? I get it. But if you're here to tell a story and your dream one day is to hold that golden statue, then my advice is don't do it. Don't put it at the end. And Tom, I'm glad you did not do that because that's not what this film is about. This film is a beautiful love story of two people remembering different decades that are
Wow.
standing in the same room. The memory may be lost, but the love has not left.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow, man. You're so good.
I've done this a little bit, but for you, even though this is one of the best films I've seen this year, how does it feel to be Oscar qualified?
It feels surreal, to be honest. I don't even, I think I would have, I think I dreamt of being Oscar qualified one day, many, many days. And now that I am, I feel like I haven't quite processed it the right way because there's always something to do. There's always, oh, compare despair, and you watch other films and you're like, oh, they're all so good, and and kudos to the filmmakers because it's not a competition. It's just trying to create a fun story, a new story, a new way of telling something that's been told before or whatever. And I'm super grateful. I'm super happy. It's super cliche to say it, but like it's a teamwork. It took a village, and it still is taking a village. Uh, so I could not have done it by myself, obviously, and I'm super grateful. I'm just I called my producer the other day and I said we already won. Like we're already part of the conversation, and that's cool. And people are watching Olive. Who would have thought? You know what I mean? So it's already a win in a strange way. Um, so yeah.
Y- that's the perfect way to look at it. I know so many people who now are going through this whole process. Some of them are freaking out. Many don't know
Hmm.
what to do. It plays on your mind, it plays on your emotions because we
Yeah.
all have that dream. Um, some live it so strongly that you know, if it doesn't happen this time, it's not the end of one's career. You just go out and make the next one.
Totally, totally, totally. And to be honest, this is my first time directing something by myself. So I'm not at a I feel very lucky that I'm not at a stage where I made 15 shorts and I'm like, if it's not this one, I'm super eager to make more shorts and more features and featured and and series and whatnot. I'm very hungry for just making things. So I'll just make I totally agree. It's not the end of the world.
You know, one of the greatest things, Tom, that I've been able to witness this year is how many filmmakers have done their very first short film and
Hmm.
have become Oscar qualified. I have seen films so great
Hmm.
that if you would have told me that that was their first film, I would have probably not believed them. And for you to tell me that this is your first short, you're right there with some of these that have, grand experience at doing this sort of thing. But ladies and gentlemen, if your dream is to be a filmmaker and you're writing your script, you're planning it all out in your head, you know who you want to act in it, and you're thinking to yourself, I can't do this because I'm a nobody. I want to tell you something. You're not a nobody. I will tell you that the people that I've talked to from all over the world are
Hmm.
living their dream because they went out and did it. They have, just like Tom got Lesley Ann Warren. And I will tell you this, I know first time filmmakers who said, I want so and so to be in this role, and they went for it. If your dream is to have an A-lister, someone that is household name, don't back off. You go for it.
Go
Because
for it.
those actors, they want to see scripts like this one. And if you have the script, they'll say yes.
Yeah.
And don't give up. Don't give up on yourself. Don't doubt yourself. Look, we're all chasing the dream. Some of us
Hmm.
get to live it. Some of you are still writing it. Uh, Tom's in the midst of it, just like so many others. So don't give up. Go for it. And hey, what do you think IMDb is for? You go look up all of the films you love, find out who worked on them, reach
Find
out
those
to the
friends.
DP, the cinematographer, the producers, build your team. People say
Totally.
yes in this industry, don't they, Tom?
They absolutely do. More than we think.
Well,
More than
ladies and gentlemen, again, Tom Koch's short film Olive, again, examines the fragility of memory and the enduring power of love through the lens of Alzheimer's. But there are so many adjectives that I could place on this film. It's beautiful, it's surreal, it's heartbreaking, it's brilliant, it's stunning. What else can you say about this film? It's an award winning film that truly, truly represents the millions of caregivers around the world taking care of a loved one with Alzheimer's. It's never ending, around the clock care. And Tom's film Olive expresses every important element of that caregiving, and he shows it with great love. And we all need to keep an eye out on Olive this Oscar season. And for any of my friends out there who are Academy members, I'm about to email you and I'm about to tell you to go into the Academy portal and you better pull up Olive and you better watch this film so you can vote on it because this is one of the top short films that I have seen this year and it will forever be right here.
wow.
So,
Thank,
Tom, thank you for allowing me to see it.
of course. Thank you for the sweet words. I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Well, you're very, very welcome. And again, ladies and gentlemen, when you have the opportunity to see Olive, you're going to feel just like I do. So, again, you can catch all of the Bondon Cinema interviews at bondoncinema.com. Check out our Prime show, our YouTube channel, and yes, you can listen to us on Spotify, iTunes, Audible, and more. And remember, you're either going to see me at the movies or from the red carpet.